Ooh.
Hello and happy Sunday. This is Swagger Sisterhood Sunday, and I am honored to have the most hardworking woman in the U.S. Period. I can't even say South Carolina because it goes beyond South Carolina. I am your host, Maryland Monroe, and today I have Miss She Did That, She Does It all the time. Former Miss South Carolina Plus America from 2020 to 2021, the community advocate for South Carolina. I can't even limit her to just the county or area of Columbia. The wonderful, the gorgeous, the redhead officiant, Miss Tina Torres.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much. I know you're busy today. You have an
Yeah.
event happening right now. You had
Mhm.
you're running on like E pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you taking the time to come on to Swagger Magazine, and for us to recognize you as sisterhood. This is definitely oftentimes we celebrate celebrities that we never see and never met. We celebrate people that don't even acknowledge us. But
Yeah.
I think more than ever, you require a even bigger celebration than this. You are well respected. You are consistent. You are kind. You're such a kind soul.
Thank you.
Um, you are. Maya Angelou has this quote, and it reminded me of you. And it's try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. And that you are.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you
You
so
are.
much for that. Thank
You
you.
are. You are
Woo.
everyone good girlfriend. I think everyone that knows you could say you are a good girlfriend.
Thank
Because
you.
you're just that spirit. But I want to talk to you about you and
Oh,
all that you're doing, all that you've done, and then let's get up to current to the event in October, which is near and
okay.
dear to me. So let's
Okay.
talk about all things Miss Tina Torres.
Oh, all things Miss Tina Torres. Woo. I am a mother of three daughters, 32, 34, and 35. I am a grandmother, aka Yaya, to a 2-year old boy and a Cairo and a 2 year not a 10-year-old, soon to be 10-year old Natalia, who has called twice since we've been on this phone just now. Uh I am I grew up in an abusive home. I thought that abuse was love, so I adopted that theory. I saw my mother being abused. I saw my aunts. I saw just the abuse across the board.
Yes.
And then you would just see Marvin Gaye playing right after, as though that's what it was. So, you just kind of think that that's what it is for me. Now, that's not everybody. So let's be clear. I'm talking about me. And so I adopted that growing up. I didn't have the normal hugs. I didn't have the normal I love yous. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the parents showing up for events at school. I didn't have any of that. And so naturally, I was just that loner kid that just got herself into trouble. I was sexually abused as a child, molested. I was raped. I endured a lot growing up in my lifehood. I became a mother at 17, a mother again at 18, and then another child at 20. So by the time I was 21, I had three children. High school dropout. I basically was just trying to make it work. My children's father was abusive, but then again, of course, I made sure that I said things that I probably didn't have any business saying as well. And that just goes back to not really having anyone to look up to within my circle that had anything near perfection that showed me any different. And so I'm honest to admit that there were moments that I was the aggressor as well, because I didn't know any better. And so, just went through life just trying to raise three daughters, trying to show them the opposite of what was shown to me, with the
Yeah.
hopes that I had some amazing kids that knew that mom really loved them, really cared about them, and really wanted the best for them. Eventually, I had to go back to school because I did recognize that if I didn't go back to school, my kids could use that against me and say, well, you didn't graduate, so why should we graduate? So I
Yeah.
went back, got my GED, and then I got an associate's degree at Millis Tech in accounting, business accounting. So I managed to start providing some type of foundation so that my girls could understand that they could do the same thing, if not even better.
That's right.
I moved into public housing. Unfortunately, I went from a shelter to public housing, which was totally a scare thing for me, being that I had been in military housing majority of my childhood, based off of my parents. And so I immediately went from going into a shelter into public housing. Then from public housing, I gave myself a 3-year goal, and from there, I received a home through Habitat for Humanity. So I built my house through Habitat for Humanity, and I've had that house going probably close to 28, maybe 29 years now.
Wow.
I was on site for a whole week, built my house in 7 days in a 7-day blitz, and moved in on my birthday in 1997. So, so I just built my life up from there. I eventually learned that abuse wasn't love through a church family friend, and I managed to really start learning how to really love on myself, really learn how, to love the girls even greater, and to give them a little bit of breathing space so that they could be teenagers. Um, and I just had to really learn that what I went through wasn't my fault, that it wasn't the girls' fault, and it wasn't really their dad's fault because he had been through some things too. So it was a matter of communication and understanding each other's faults and learning how we can build from there. And from there, I just learned that I wanted to be able to give back to those that were in need, or that would be in that have been where are currently where I was.
Right.
So I wanted to always be able to be that beacon of hope, that beacon of light of someone that needed something. And so I just began to have events so that I could be able to help others. Resources, are slim. And if you're not a
Yeah.
major corporation, you're definitely not going to get the funding that others do. And so you try to make it work with what you do have. And so, that's where She Did That Community Advocate Foundation came from. She Did That Events came from that. And so we are where we are today.
And that's super amazing. Like, you are amazing. And again, you're the rainbow. You are the rainbow of hope.
Thank you.
You're the rainbow of hope. You're like, you changed the narrative for yourself and your children. You know, you changed the narrative and you were able to acknowledge your portion of accountability
Yes.
and take it and then build from there, because that's like one of the first steps is to acknowledge,
Yes.
and understand, because without that, your foundation of build and becoming better, it's a little shaky. So
It
you
is.
you did the work. You've done all the work.
Yes. I had to do the work in order for my girls to know that what their mom endured was definitely something that I didn't want them to do, even though I think that sometimes you have to go through something in order to be able to learn, in order to be able to educate. I think if you haven't really gone through it, it is going to be much more harder for a person to understand why another individual will feel the way that they feel. And
Agreed.
so, unless you either go through it or have been on the sideline to actually see it, like seeing your mom go through it, you don't necessarily pick up those habits, but yet it'll still trigger you in some shape, fashion, or form. So
Yes.
I think you still have to own it, and I think you have to find a way to create something magical out of it.
And you did, and you do it
I
every day.
thank you.
So let's talk about. We talked about, like, She Did That, but definitely the background of Tina Torres. And let's talk about the Miss South Carolina plus America 2020. Let's talk about that.
So I saw one of my friends post something, and she was like, "Hey, we need assistance with the pageant or something." I was like, "Yeah, what do you need?" And immediately she said, "I need for you to sign up and compete." And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute." So that was definitely taken me out of my comfort zone. And so, yeah, so I applied and I won the overall pageant for that. It was totally shocking. Totally, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, but a lot of work and a lot of woes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was totally different, but it allowed me to be able to use my platform for domestic violence awareness and teen I also talk about childhood trauma. So,
Yeah.
those two things together for me were major. And whatever platforms I could get on to get it out, that's what it was. So becoming Miss South Carolina Plus 2020, 2021 was
Yes.
around that COVID time. And so,
Yes.
yeah, so it was pretty major. It was definitely different and it did open up a lot of doors for me too. So
Oh,
yeah.
so you're a water sign, correct? Like myself.
Yes, oh God, yes, yes. I am
So
a Scorpio to the
mhm.
core.
Right. So with the water signs, we are natural nurturers. We
Yeah.
are like, if you need help, we'll do it. We like to kind of like fill in the pieces
Yeah.
naturally
Mhm.
without it thinking about it, just very
Yeah.
involuntarily.
Yeah.
So you have your businesses surrounding community because, like me, I'm big on community. I'm also an officiant, so we have so much in common. But I'm not
Yeah.
marrying people like you. You marry
Oh
you're married
yeah.
all in South Carolina.
I'm
What
married all across the United States,
I was
actually.
gonna say, but yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me about connecting the love.
So for me, I love love, and I love to hear people say I do. So I
Yeah.
do it a little differently. Like I really take the time to get to know who they are, what they represent, their whys. And so I take their whys and I make it into a fun wedding. Because sometimes people are so stressed when they're standing in front of others. When there's a whole bunch of people, they're stressed to the max.
Yes.
They're going to remember pictures, but they're not going to really remember that moment because they're so stressed out. So for me, we get up there, we act a little donkey, we act a little fool. I don't care who's in there. You know what I'm saying? And we have fun up there. Cause I just think
Yeah.
that I think you have to be relaxed and I think you have to be able to enjoy the moment. And I never want people to feel so stressed that they can't enjoy the moment. So that's why we do what we do. So we act a fool. But I love marrying folks. I love hearing them say I do. And I love hearing people laugh. So for
Yeah.
me, doing weddings any and everywhere, that's just what I do. I just love it.
That is awesome. I love it. Again, I'm officiant, but I hadn't officially had an I do. I had someone say I want to get married, but then it kind
Yeah.
of the relationship went. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
yes, before
yeah.
the event, which is
That
which
yeah, and that
yeah,
sucks when that happens because you're all geared up, ready to go, and then next thing you know, they're like, "Well, we just not
we
gonna do it."
changed. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Next. So yeah. Let's talk about, and this is what I'm excited about, and I'm actually gonna attend, so I will be there. Let's talk about this year's the 10th year Purple Gala.
Yes. Yes. So about 10 years ago, a great friend, sister, confidant sat with me at the IHOP downtown. And 3 years prior to that, I was doing a fashion show for awarenesses. And so for awareness. So that year she came to me and she said she went, did you see about doing something? And I was like, well, let's figure it out. So she thought about a gala. So for 9 years, we've been putting on this purple gala that brings awareness to domestic violence. South
Mhm.
Carolina ranks very high in the top
Yes.
10 for domestic violence. And I think one year, I think we ranked one or two at one point, or in the top five. And so we have been doing this gala every year. We do bring awareness to both voices, but mainly it's been women. So this year for our 10th year, we decided that we wanted to really gear it around the male voice. And
Yes.
so there one out of every seven male is in a domestic violence situation. And so you could be standing among seven males and to know that there is one literally right beside you within that
Yes.
seven that is in a domestic violence situation. And so
Yes.
it just became more and more important because there aren't any resources for males. There aren't a place for them to go to if they're in a domestic violence situation. Oftentimes, males are really ridiculed by their male friends because it's like, how can you let a woman talk to you that way? How can you let a woman hit on you that way? But in all actuality, um, it's abuse. And so, um, maybe they saw their mom being abused when they were a child, and they vowed to never abuse, but
Mm.
to abuse the woman that they're with. But then that woman is abusing them, and so they're hands off. They're trying to make sure. However, they still don't have anybody to go talk to. They don't have
Yeah.
anybody that listens to them. So this year we wanted to hold our males accountable, and we
Yeah.
wanted to say, hey, we've got to come together, and we've got to create this platform so that males are able to come together, have a conversation, let us know how we can help them, and then
Yes.
begin to have these further conversations afterwards. So this year we created a panel of males. We have survivors, we have the law, we have the legal, we have mental health, and then we also have just another individual that can help tie it all together
I
on
love
a
it.
panel that will talk about domestic violence from the male point of view.
Mm.
And then from there, we will begin to figure out what resources are needed for our males that are in domestic violence situations.
I love that. I love the law, the legal, and then the actual survivors of
Hmm.
domestic violence. I think, I'm a mother of 4 sons, and I mentioned it to
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I don't have to go through this with them. However, you never know. Like you said, a lot of men are told to not speak on it because it's embarrassing.
Hmm.
A lot of even when men want to communicate back in relationships, our day and time, they're called sassy.
Yes.
They're being sassy. It's too much back and forth, even if it's
Yeah.
in the most respectful way, almost egging on for them to become hostile.
Hmm.
So this event this year for the 10th event is definitely an event I'm going to attend on behalf of my
Thank you.
sons. Absolutely, behalf of my sons and culture wise, because it's important to bring that awareness and really push it.
Hmm.
Because men are just important. I have a viewer that said, and it's actually Miss Rem, Real Estate Michelle. She said, "True, men matter. Um,
Yeah.
Men, they really do. They matter because we can't, as women, expect a whole man, whatever that is. If
Yeah.
in fact we are told to tell them to just quiet their cries and their hurt.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
love that.
I think what we have to remember is that women cry, right? Women feel.
Hmm.
So why is it that men aren't supposed to cry and men aren't supposed to feel? So where's the balance in that, right?
Yes.
And so I struggled with that myself. Don't get me wrong. Like I used to think that was the case. I used to think men are like this. Is this how a man is supposed to be?
Yes.
But I if I want him to talk to me and if I want him to share with me, I have to be his safe space too, right? So, I'm not gonna, I can't always be 100% a safe space, but I have to figure out how to balance that. And
Yes.
so I have to remember, I wouldn't want him to talk to me any kind of way. So why should I talk to him any kind of way? Right.
Yes.
And so, but we have to be mindful in saying, how can I be better? Men and women, how can I be better? How can I have that foundation where my kids see a loving
Yes.
space? Right? And that was the reason why I fought really hard for us to be able to, and not really fight hard, but to really make sure that we are bringing this foundation, this I don't know, this whole thing together so that men will feel safe. We
Yes.
even have a cigar bar outside that's being set up for them to be able to have a cigar.
Awesome.
Like we're really catering to the men this year because we want them to know that we care and we want them to feel safe and we want them to know that we need them just as much as they need us. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing this year. Now, for your boys, the next day we have our brunch. Now, domestic violence is severely high as well among our teenagers and our young adults between
Mm-hmm.
the ages of 12 and 25.
Yes.
So that next day we have a brunch for them so that we can listen to the kids talk about domestic violence, and how can we as parents, how can we as counselors, how can we as teachers, and how can we anybody of a, that's an adult, be able to help our teens? How can we help
Yes,
our young adults that are in domestic violence situations? So we have that for both male and female, for the ages 12 to 25, and it's free for them. We just ask anybody that's over those ages if they could pay $15, because that kind of helps us with resources. But
absolutely.
so this year we're really tackling from the male perspective, and then from our teens and our young adults perspective. So that way I will feel, if God took me the day after
Mm,
all of that, I would have accomplished knowing that I fought for men, women, and young and teenagers and young adults, because I
yes.
believe we all experience some type of abuse at some point. It's how do we come back from it? How do we take whatever thunderstorm we went through and made it into a bright sunny day? And
Mm,
that's where we're at.
you are so amazing, Tina.
Thank you.
Amazing. I love it. Like all full-fledged community. And again, like you said, this is your mission. This
Mhm.
is your mission. You are, and you're moving in your mission. Again, you are the rainbow.
Thank you.
So I know I need for you to take a minute and get yourself something to eat, something to drink. I'm not going to keep you the full 30 minutes because you
Okay.
need it fueled, because you have
Yeah.
an event going
Yeah.
on. And someone said that that's amazing. Applause, absolutely 100%.
Thank
So if
you.
please let the viewers know where to find you
Okay.
on social media.
So I am on all social media. Let's see, as She Did That events. Uh, I am on Facebook as Tina Darlene Torres, and then we have She Did That Community Advocate Foundation on all social media. And then I'm also a wedding officiant, and a bartender. So I am called the Redhead Officiant, the Redhead Bartender. So all of that stuff is on social media. Um, as far as like TikTok, Instagram, you Facebook, and there's one more. Oh, I can't remember. But my website is shedidthatevents.com. And then my phone number is 803-814-5173. And so we are located right here in Columbia, South Carolina. And most of those services that I mentioned, we do travel throughout the United States to do so. And then the Purple Gala is October the 18th, at 7 o'clock at Sweet 60. Those tickets are on my website, and they are on kickbacktickets.com. And then the brunch, of course, the next day is at venue 817. And you can get those tickets on our website, and you can get those tickets on um, kickbacktickets.com. Now, we do need the kids to register, but that's only because we just want to make sure we have enough food. We have sponsors that are helping us, and we just need to be able to let them know how much food that we're going to need, especially for the kids. So,
All
yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time.
you.
I really appreciate you. We really appreciate
Sure.
you.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
you're
Anytime.
super, and like this was a great conversation. And again, this is Swagger Sisterhood Sunday, featuring yours truly, Maryland Monroe, and my special
Um,
guest, Tina Torres. So hit the replay, share. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you,
y'all.
Tina.
You're
Happy
welcome.
hunting.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.